Henry Cavill is everything woke Hollywood hates. And when I say woke Hollywood, I pretty much can just say Hollywood in general, because they are run by a bunch of creepers and a lot worse than that. But that's all I'm just going to say. Anyway, let me go ahead and dive into today's video. So, as we all know, the bad news we've received about Henry Cavill not being Superman after all, getting booted off the project for stupid reasons, but I'm going to unpack that more and really get down to what I think is actually going on. And I'm not the only one. It's in the air. Everybody can tell this is something a lot more suspicious. And this is my take on it. Henry Cavill is everything woke Hollywood fears. He deserves a top-tier leading man roles, but certain things not moving forward may actually be a blessing for him, to be honest. Which, yeah, I think that may be the case. Maybe that door closed for a reason, because better doors are opening. I mean, we did get that Warhammer announcement, which I think is perfect for him being such a huge Warhammer fan, and anybody else that's a big Warhammer fan, y'all are gonna be eating good. Having him not only playing it, but also help produce it. I am jelly, because I wish something like Tomb Raider would get that kind of similar treatment. But this is where we are at. And here's another tweet that I saw today that I thought was brilliant. This is a quote tweet from the reason, which I'm going to dive into this article here too, why James Gunn claims the reason Henry Cavill is out as Superman is very simple. He's a different age, he says. I'm going to dive more into that later, but the Critical Drinker here says, nobody wants a 20-year-old Superboy. Nobody wants another story of Superman's early years. They want Superman at the peak of his powers and abilities, actually getting to be Superman. That's what Cavill could have given us. 1,000 million billion % agree with that statement. And just look what's going on right now. All these hashtags, fire James Gunn, hashtag boycott Warner Brothers. Everybody loves Henry Cavill, even though he's what woke Hollywood hates. The people love him, and I think he represents the people in a lot of ways. What we like to see in people, he's got admirable qualities, but even beyond that, he is a fan. He's a big nerd and a fan of a lot of these things that we love, and that Hollywood is doing everything they can to rip apart and make unrecognizable. They don't want to give the fans what we want, and Henry Cavill does want to give fans what we want, because he is a fan himself. So yeah, in more ways than one is he just everything they hate. Let me dive into this article, and then I will give some more of my opinions here. So DC Studios boss James Gunn recently clarified why actor Henry Cavill will not be returning to the role of Superman for his upcoming film about the superhero. Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year, he says. Okay, but then he goes, among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. This is just dumb. This isn't what we want. But we just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future, blah, blah, blah. In response, here's some things that some fans said. When you show us the movie coming out, will you explain why Cavill is getting recast, please? And he said, as I said yesterday, it's very simple. He's a different age. You're doing another origin story, which no one wants. Also, as I said yesterday, I'm definitely not doing an origin story. Dude, you're still doing young Superman. This is the same thing with Lara Croft, too, which, of course, I will hijack any video to talk about Lara Croft. We don't want to see any more origin story with Lara Croft. We don't want to see any more unseasoned young Lara Croft. We want to see Lara Croft at her peak, in her prime, at her best. We want the same with Superman, and we want the same with most of the heroes and stuff that we see in general for these kind of things. It's just like, yeah, an origin story can be fun and cool here and there to see, but for the most part, we like superheroes or characters in general from whatever it may be in nerd culture, because we want to see them do what they do best. And whenever you're always getting the young version, the inexperienced, the unseasoned version, you're not getting that. So nobody asked for this. Nobody wants this. I think it's a much deeper thing than just this, because if you really unpack everything that Henry Cavill embodies, it's not what Hollywood, it doesn't align with what Hollywood is trying to do. It doesn't fit their message. And it doesn't fit with what they're trying to do with nerd culture in general as well. So when you really look at their message, what has been in the social climate lately? White man bad, okay? White man bad. Traditional values bad. And they also are trying to force this woke agenda. We've seen in the past Henry Cavill speak out against certain woke things that did make him come under fire. I feel like he has been a lot more quiet since then, but he is definitely, everybody knows, it's no secret that he is a lot more of a traditional valued person. But he completely embodies the traits that woke people and woke Hollywood demonizes. A strong, masculine man who is confident in that. He doesn't apologize for being a man. He doesn't apologize for being masculine. He doesn't apologize for being white. He's himself, and he's confident in himself, and he's humble, and just really what we need more of in Hollywood in general. Everybody freaking loves Henry Cavill, and there's a reason for it. He's just a wholesome dude. So anyway, yeah, they don't like that. Hollywood doesn't like that. And like I also briefly mentioned at the beginning, here's a guy who really understands nerd culture and really understands the audience here, because he's one of us. And woke Hollywood hates us. Just look at the bad guy in She-Hulk. Who was the bad guy? The bad guy was a bunch of people like, the Quartering. They made the bad guy a bunch of, entertainment critics, essentially, who are sick of all of the woke messaging that is being forced on a society and has plagued even our entertainment right now. And one reason why it has plagued our entertainment is because they are trying to manipulate the future generations. They are trying to brainwash them, and they are trying to influence the future generations. And what's a good way to do that? Through entertainment. And so how does that look for them whenever they have somebody who embodies everything that they hate? Similarly, that's one reason why, if you look at Chris Pratt too, while he still does get to do a bunch of stuff, they hate him as well. And there's a reason why when he's a part of any type of project, the woke masses just come for him relentlessly. I think the reason why even Chris Pratt still gets a lot of stuff that he does is because he keeps quiet for the most part. Sure, he's a straight white Christian man, and he will make his posts about his family and stuff like that, but for the most part, they keep him pretty quiet. And he's not as outspoken as he probably wants to be, which is unfortunate. But anyway, yeah. I think, too, with even Chris Pratt, he would be getting a lot more roles if this were a different day and age, This was like 20 years ago. Same with Henry Cavill, which someone pointed out that Nerdrotic had said in one of his videos. It's like, dude, he would be the main leading man in all of the things. He would have, even though obviously he's a massive star now, but even more so back in the day, because he does possess the qualities that, one would want to see in a leading man: attractive, masculine, all that. So people are mad about it. Even when I made this tweet, people are like, some of the naysayers, obviously a lot of people agreed, but some of the naysayers they're trying to bait me into saying something. They're just like, why? Can you clarify? Can you clarify why he's everything Hollywood fears? And I think they think I'm not going to outright say it, that they don't like straight white men, but I will outright say it. They don't like straight white men. So, that is one of the issues. He's just too, He's just too based for Hollywood. That's just where we're at. And honestly, this could be a good thing for him to not even get involved in some of these projects. I mean, don't even get me freaking started on James Gunn in general, on the things that he has shared and stuff in the past. This guy, there's a lot of allegations and stuff about his character. I just know I've seen enough to not admire the guy myself. So just knowing how corrupt and disgusting Hollywood is, Henry Cavill being distanced from some of these projects may be a blessing in disguise for him. Bad for us, but good for him. But still, I do hope and pray for his continued success and in the right projects that we will be able to enjoy and that we would love to see, but that will also benefit him and not put him in bad situations. So that's the important thing to note here. But I think that in general, Hollywood needs someone like Henry Cavill way more than Henry Cavill needs Hollywood. They're the ones who would benefit from him. Audiences, we want to see people like him because he's awesome. He's great. We want to see people like him in these type of roles. That's what we want to see. And so Hollywood would make a lot more money if they actually gave us what we wanted. And I thought we were in a step in the right direction. I was like, nature is healing. We're getting our Superman back. Nature is healing. But no, it didn't happen. I feel like this whole thing is a giant excuse. I feel like the real reason here is this would contradict a lot of their messaging, and it would also prove that all of this woke agenda is not what people want, and it would prove the whole get woke, go broke thing, because this would have been a success. A lot more so than what it probably will be now that they've taken him off the roster. But anyway... Anyway, there you have it for my video today. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.